Hey guys, SickMotion here with the patch 6.18 notes. This is the patch that Worlds are going to be played on. So a lot of this patch has to do with balancing for Worlds, naturally because of that. Um, so some of the stuff, a lot of this stuff isn't really for solo queue, but we'll go through it anyway, obviously. I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday simply because I had a dentist appointment, and it went great, in case anyone was wondering. But we'll go down through here. This is the patch that York is released on. So the opportunity to play York will be at Worlds, the new York. So that'll be interesting if anyone wants to play it. I've been testing and playing around with it a little bit with different builds and whatnot. I played it on the PBE when it first came out, but stuff on the PBE is always, you're not necessarily playing against the best players, whether you're playing the champion or someone playing the champion. So it's usually not the greatest, I don't know, indication of how the champion's going to go. I was building him with Trinity Force a lot, and I've seen a lot of Yorks build him with Trinity Force and haven't seen anything overly impressive in like an evenly matched game that way. I started building Iceborne first and going things like Spirit Visage. I built Sunfire a few times and then just split really hard. That felt a bit better. I still haven't found a build overall that I like. I don't know if I want to go more bruisery, if I want to go with the Trinity Force, if I want to go Iceborne, if I want to go Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver, Death's Dance I've considered. I don't know how well that'll work. A lot of it has to do with not knowing really how the AI on the champion works. The ultimate, the way that it targets is really difficult to kind of know what's going on. It's really hard to see or tell how far it's going to tether, who it's actually hitting in a team fight, whether you're playing as or against York, all of that. But that might honestly just be because I'm not used to the champion yet. Anyway, that's kind of my thoughts and what I've been experimenting with on York so far. I tried Fervor with the Trinity Force to get the extra attack speed to do some extra damage for me with the Fervor, and then going kind of bruisery tanky from there. I've tried Grasp. I've considered Thunderlords or Storm Raiders. I don't think Storm Raiders affects the movement speed of anything other than yourself, so it might not be that helpful. Grasp I've liked the most so far. The extra healing on top of the healing that your Q is already doing, plus that extra damage. That felt pretty good. But for the most part, the thing that felt the most effective on him was splitting. And not splitting and team fighting seems very unreliable, especially if you don't have ghouls. You're not able to spawn any ghouls unless you go to near a minion wave. So if you're team fighting in the jungle or whatnot, you rely on your ult to spawn your ghouls. And once those die, it kind of feel a lot less useful. And that's if your ult's up, if you don't have it pushing a wave. The couple games that I did on York, I did go drop portal as well. So I was just kind of like a super annoying split push dude. And I liked the way that felt. It just kind of left the rest of the team open to getting murdered. If they weren't playing well around the splitting, I felt like not splitting just wasn't very helpful. I mean, there was team fights and there's occasions like your W, your little circle thing is really helpful in team fights as well. I just feel that the reliability of your ghouls in those teamfight situations seems to be not the greatest, especially if there's a ton of AoE. Because I think they take less AoE damage, but they still will die relatively fast. But I have kind of been enjoying testing him out and figuring out where to split push and what I want to do with him there. So I have ideas on builds and masteries and whatnot that I've been running, but still nothing solidified yet. So let's see here. Let's scroll down. Ashe. Ashe nerfs here. More Ashe nerfs. She was nerfed last patch. Nerfed some more here. The cooldown on her W is what they're targeting this time. It is now 3 seconds higher at level 1 and 1 second higher at level 3. So it's just a nerf across the board there. So bringing down Ashe some more. Airline Soul fixed a bug where upon gaining vision of him, his passive stars could briefly appear in his last known location. I mean, champions appear on the minimap at their last known location as like a visual bug for pretty much any champion, and that's been a thing forever, so I don't really know. That doesn't seem like much of a change. I'm used to that by now. Echo base attack damage is down. Reason the importance of the base attack damage going down is because it uses your base attack damage on Sheen and Trinity Force proc, so that once again, hitting the fighter Echo, they're trying so hard to make it so that he's just wants to be like that AP character, trying to buff AP and take everybody away from going tank, take everybody away from going like fighter, bruiser with a Trinity Force fervor. And it just seems like it's not going to happen. I don't think this will be the last nerf directed at Echo forever. I think he'll probably get toned down again for his non-AP assassin builds, but we'll see. Nar's, I've been asked this a few times today on stream. How's Nar doing? I never felt Nar was like the biggest threat or the biggest influence in solo queue. I always think that it's easier to play against Nar than to play with Nar. It's easier to play against his rage and know what he's going to do rather than him playing with his team in his rage bar. It's harder to be able to get a good teleport off. You don't know if you want to come in mini form with some extra autos to be able to get some damage off before transforming and engaging, or you want to come in pretty much in your big form to engage. So overall, I've just found that playing Gnar is just not as good in solo queue. It's really good in organizational play, and like I said earlier, this is a patch designed around the balancing for Worlds. I have not watched a game of LCS this season. I haven't watched any competitive stuff. I haven't looked at stats or anything. I just haven't really been interested in it at all. I've been enjoying League, just not the competitive scene. I will watch Worlds. I'll say that right now. I'm interested in watching Worlds, but from my understanding, I haven't seen if the 2v1 lanes have gone away completely or if they're still a thing, but with the turret changes of a couple patches ago, I'm pretty sure that that's what they were leaning towards, is making the 1v1 top and the 2v2 bot. So Gnar is really strong in that 1v1 in organizational play, and he's really strong in organizational play as well, so they're toning him down as a lane bully for that reason. So that's kind of my long explanation onto that, but I don't think that he's that great in solo queue before, so after getting nerfed, I think he's in an even worse spot, obviously. They also changed the Frozen Mallet to do less damage. Frozen Mallet kind of core feeling on Gnar. At least I really like building Frozen Mallet on Gnar. So that is gonna do less damage there, but more health. So I mean, it depends on what you wanted. The damage on his Hyper is down 5 at every level, and the cooldown on his jump, which is his get out of jail free card in lane if your flash is down. If this is down and your flash is down, you could be really susceptible to getting murdered at. So that has also gone down 4 seconds at level 1. It scales to where it used to go, but it's usually what you level last anyway. So Lee Sin buffs here. Lifesteal all across the board on his W, but most noticeably level 1, the lifesteal has been doubled from 5% to 10%, so that'll give him a lot more early sustain. So going to help him in the jungle more. Health growth stat on Lissandra has gone down. I haven't seen like barely any Lissandras played recently, so that must be aimed at competitive, I'm assuming. Like I said, I haven't followed it at all. Slow duration now lasts the intended 2 seconds at all rank rather than 1 to 2 seconds. I didn't even realize there was a bug with that. I mean, playing against Lulu's not fun, and I don't really play Lulu, so that hasn't affected me. Maybe it has affected me positively. Maybe I wasn't slowed by the last Lulu I played as long as I could have been. Lux, the slow on her E has gone up just across the board, so Lux buffs there. Passive damage to turrets from Love Tap is now 100% from 50, and Fix the Bugs or Misfortune's next basic attack would sometimes not activate Love Tap after casting Double Up. So mainly with higher attack speeds, so there was that bug. That's been fixed as well, so she's a stronger turret pusher as well if you're making use of that passive. I haven't seen very many Misfortunes recently. Come to think of it though, like since the patch, I have seen a few Misfortune 80 carries and they haven't done bad. So little bit of buff there. Probably see more of her as well. Rek'Sai, hard nerfs here. Base armor down by 4.3. When you consider that yellow runes give you 9 if you're taking flat, that's half of your yellow runes nerfed off there. So that's really painful. And the armor growth stat is also down Oftentimes when one of those gets nerfed, the growth stat or the base, they'll buff the other one to kind of try and balance out the power from early to late or late to early. However, this one is just a nerf across the board on both stats. So Rek'Sai got wrecked. Rise, just a bug fix on the tooltip and range indicator to show that it's 1750 at rank 1. I think it was 1500. I think that's what it was. So still pretty short, but a little bit longer. I guess there was a bug where it didn't get fixed properly, though. Shen, his base shield is down slightly early, but quite a lot later on in the game. I think this is probably competitive as well. Aimed a competitive play since it's 1v1 top lane. Shen getting to help his bot lane more often. And not being behind because he was in a 1v2 lane, because Shen does not do really good in 1v2 lanes. And his Q, the damage is down at all levels by 1%. And the enhanced damage is also down by 1% at all levels. Shen's Q damage was actually pretty substantial. If you've ever gotten hit by it, it's pretty big. So it's a little bit lower. Talia, the bonus damage to minions was 50% higher, but now it's been removed, so she doesn't get that extremely easy cast 1Q, kill the entire wave, anything past like 1 minute into the game type thing. So a little bit less control there, and the damage on her E has been taken down quite substantially as well. That'll also hurt her wave clear. Vlad nerfs as well. Base HP down 25, the healing from his Q down early, down later, and the damage on his E, the health conversion, it only goes to 8% max health instead of 10 based on duration. The cooldown is still 5% at max level, but it's 4 seconds longer at level 1, and then goes down from there back to 5 seconds. But you're still only going to be getting that 8% max health down from 10. So just building like super healthy, like still gonna be effective. It's only 2%, but there is a damage fall off there. Yasuo, I like these Yasuo changes. I didn't overly like the just build Frozen Mallet like tanky-ish Yasuo. I like the crit idea on him, like the high risk, high reward. I mean, you could still build him like Bruisery, but if you're building not the crit on him, it's not going to feel very rewarding. The reason it works is because he just gained a ton of bonus armor pen for nothing and was able to use that to just cut through his opponents. The bonus armor pen on his ult only applies to your critical strikes. Getting 100% crit on Yasuo isn't very hard. You only need 2 items, like an IE, a Phantom Dancer, or any other combination that gives you 50% crit. You'll then get up to 100% crit. Unless you're hit crits, you're not gaining that bonus armor pen. So later on in the game, he's not going to be able to shred tanks if he doesn't have that crit as reliably. If he only has the 60%, or if he doesn't have any crit, he's not going to be very reliable at all with shredding tanks. And there was also a bug that allowed him to get an extra basic attack when he was ulting. So apparently a lot of people are saying that's why his win rate is so high, is because of that bug. I don't think it's that. I'm sure he would have been disabled if that bug was that game breaking, but I think people were just playing him a lot because his build was pretty efficient, but a lot of that's changed. I do like the way that was changed. Frozen Mallet here, new build path, 10 less AD, 50 more health, total cost unchanged. It now builds out of the Fist, a Giant Spelt, and 900 gold rather than a Fist, a Pickaxe, a Ruby Crystal, and gold. Overall, the build path for tankier characters is going to feel really good. You can get a Giant Spelt early and then figure out if you want to go with a Frozen Mallet or if you just want to take the Giant Spelt into something else. I really like that. I didn't like the Frozen Mallet not having a Giant Spelt in the build, so that's good. I like that. Relic Shield, Spoils of War Heal is now 15 down from 20. And this is really nice here. The invulnerability visual, it doesn't look like much in here, but in game it's very shiny, very obvious, very glowing, all on their health bar and whatnot, that they're invulnerable. For the Taric ult mainly, but it's for all invulnerabilities as well. Like a Kale ult will give you that invulnerable look to you as well as just the shield. I mean, the Kale shield's a lot more obvious than a Taric ult. But the Taric ult was often hard. You could see it go off, but you couldn't tell when it was working, couldn't tell when it dropped, couldn't tell who got it as easily. Now you can. So I really like that change as well. Spectator VFX cleanup. I'm just going to not read that. You can read that if you want. Rank decay. This is a change I really like, and I wish they had this at the beginning of the season. I'll explain a little bit. We've kind of talked about a lot of stuff already, but I'll explain why I think this is good here. The way it works, players can store up to 10 banked games of decay immunity. So basically right now, if you're in Master and Challenger, you have to play a game every 10 days. Once you play a game, you have to play a game within 10 days or you will decay. Now you can store up to 10 games, so you will still be able to have 10 days without playing that you won't decay. However, each day one bank game is removed from the reserves. Starting when the number of bank games first reaches 0, players incur 100 LP decay per day. They per day until they bank any additional games of immunity. I think it was 250 LP you lost before, so this each day. So the 100 LP is a lot less. Bank games are tracked on the leagues tab. It wasn't showing up right away, but I checked it today. It does tell you how many days you have left to decay, and decay rules in other tiers are not changed. This is only for Master and Challenger players, and the reason I like this is people would get up to there, get up to Master, get up to Challenger, and then they would just sit on that. And it felt like it was almost like, I haven't read anything about it, but it was almost like a curved system where if you're not playing against the higher rated players, you're not able to have big gains. So say you're like high diamond 1 at the end of the season. This is kind of what it felt like last season. You're high diamond 1 at the end of the season, you're going for Master, but everyone that you're playing against isn't like the MMR of a Master player when you could just be playing against them. And just because it kind of feels like it's a curve or a skew, or there's so many slots that are going to be able to be filled in Masters before it starts to get harder for people to get in unless they're beating out current Master players. I haven't read anything about that, but that's how this kind of felt last season, because I'd be playing against people that were higher rated than me, and I'd be gaining less points and losing more. And I get that has a lot to do with, oh, your MMR is not high enough, blah, blah, all of that. It was so consistent that was happening that it was obviously not that. I was playing with higher rated people than me, so my MMR should have been higher than where it actually was based on my rating. But it was consistently having that issue. And I'm wondering really what it caused, but long story short, I'm assuming this will hopefully fix that. Also, a lot of people at the beginning of the season got really, really, really high up, just pre-made fives, dynamic queuing all the way up, and then they just got up to like 400, 500 points in Master or Challenger, wherever that it put them at this point in the season, and then they would just sit on it. Because if you consider playing one game every 10 days at 400 points, say you're gaining and losing 20 points per game, you play one game every 10 days. You lose every single one of those games. You just have the worst time ever, and you lose 20 points per game. You have to lose 20 games to drop from 400 points to 0. And you're still in Master. You still have to lose one on 0 to drop out. But you have to lose 20 games to get out of those 400 points in a row. Very unlikely. To lose 20 games based on this system every 10 days would have taken you 200 days to fall out if you lost every single game. Now say you won 10 of those games and lost 30. You would still end up at 0, but that's 400 days that you could have been in there just from getting up early on in the season with the dynamic queue thing, or just getting there early on or at any point in the season and then just sitting there. And I thought that was a pretty poor way to manage the system. So I like this. You can store up to 10 games of bank decay immunity. The only thing I would add on to this is if every day is worth a game regardless, I don't think it should be 10 days. Make it at least 14. Or possibly 20, but at least 14. That's 2 weeks. So if like people go on like a 2-week vacation or whatnot, they're not just going to be punished. I mean, the people that got in here can probably get back, type thing. There's a lot of arguments for that, but it's just a punishment if you have to play one game a day anyway. To just give like an extra 4 days, 5 days, 10 days on there, you're still playing the same amount of games, but you can bank it up and then actually not be worried about having to go away. Like God forbid you leave for 11 days out of the entire year. People that are at this level of play are here because they play a ton of games. So it's they're still going to be playing lots of games, but if you can't play those games within a period of time because you work, school, vacation, something happens that you're not able to be around, losing all of that can be really frustrating just because you were a few days late. I don't think they should make it like indefinite. I don't think they should make it like 30, 50 days bank games. I think that would be too much because you could just chain out a ton of games and then just have 50 days of immunity, which would kind of be back to the original problem in a way. But I think this new system is good. I don't think it would hurt to put it to say 14, 15, 20. I think anything over 20 might be a little too much, but I think that would be some quality of life for the higher rated players. I think this needed to be changed, but I think the players that actually do play and then need to go away for whatever reason would enjoy that. A bunch of bug fixes here. Um, no, I usually don't go through the bug fixes. They're just kind of really long. So, and then the skins. Championship Z, and then these skins. The Butcher Olaf, I've seen it in game. It actually looks pretty cool. I don't know if my view will show you. Oh, it actually does. It doesn't really do it justice. The in-game view is actually pretty cool of the Butcher Olaf. I'm really excited for the Pantheon one. Playing threes and whatnot, we'd always call Pantheon the Baker because of his joke. We'd always be like, select me the Baker. And now we can actually select me the Baker. Feels good, man. I can actually select the Baker. Anyway, bit of longer explanations at certain points in here, so a bit of a longer video than the past couple. Thank you for watching, though, if you're still with us here. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you did, make sure to drop a like, a comment if you want. If you haven't already followed the channel and you want to see more content like this, feel free to do so as well. I stream as well. Most people know, but if you don't, my social media links and my stream links are in the description below, so you can check those out. And other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you found some of it helpful at least. And